It is funny how we end up here every few years. The great debate about what team Paul George should take his talents to and if his eventual choice was the right one. Each destination he has gone to is better than the last, but the results remain to be the same. No championships to show for it. And no, that is not me taking a shot at Paul George. That's just me stating the facts. Many accept at this point that George cannot be the best player on a championship team. The expectations of him now fall in line with that of a Robin. Realistically, Paul George is one of the most sought after players in the NBA due to his versatile skill set and ability to fit into that Robin role. His game is so smooth that he can create shots for himself and his teammates while also being a threat off the ball as a knockdown shooter and an efficient slasher to the rim. Not to mention his capabilities as a wing defender standing at 6'8". His player archetype is a hot commodity in today's NBA, especially because perimeter play is the focus of today's NBA game. Naturally, whenever you hear people say a team is one more piece away from being a championship caliber team, the piece that team needs is someone with George's skill set. And think about every team from the past playoffs. Just to name a few, the Timberwolves would have loved his capabilities to be able to make Luka Doncic work on both ends, since he and Kyrie were looking like the best backcourt of all time against them. Dan Van Gundy's words, not mine. Then the Lakers definitely would have loved George's services, since Jamal Murray turns into Steph Curry whenever he plays against them. While many teams can benefit from George's skill set, few have the Batman counterpart to truly make his departure worthwhile. Despite being great players in their own rights, neither Russell Westbrook or Kawhi Leonard were able to fulfill this role in their time with George. Particularly Leonard, whose health derailed 4 out of the Clippers' 5 seasons in the Leonard and George era. While the Los Angeles Clippers put out a statement saying contractual disputes has now led to George not returning to the Clippers, it is hard not to believe that both George and Leonard's inability to stay healthy did not also play a factor in the split. I do want to be fair though and acknowledge the fact that George played in 74 regular season games this season and the entire playoffs. Unfortunately, these types of healthy seasons have been the exception rather than the norm since George joined the Clippers. Ironically, on his own podcast, the topic of Lonzo Ball's health came up, and it highlights George's own health struggles to the point his co-hosts say they cannot critique Lonzo Ball due to George's own injuries.
Yeah. What can't Lonzo do?
Ball can't stay healthy.
You saying I'm loving. That has nothing to do with the game.
Yes, it does. That's like saying
You can't say that.
Why not?
Look at our boy.
Yeah, but
that has nothing. Being healthy has nothing to do with talent. Like, it's just being unfortunate.
I think there's a talent in staying healthy. I think that is something that some guys have.
That's a work ethic.
You know what I'm saying? That's tough.
It is truly hilarious when you think about it. Imagine discussing the pure notion of injuries and how it impacts one's talent, and your co-hosts question their opinion since it may be an offense towards you indirectly. It is a large part of the reason why I cannot bring myself to feel all that hype for a new Big Three in Philly, even if the talent should lend itself to being championship worthy. Joel Embiid is a worthwhile Batman to George's Robin when he's healthy. That health stipulation being a bolder-sized caveat. Embiid has been held back by injuries in his last few playoff appearances. It is rare to see Embiid's regular season success mirrored by similar playoff success, whether it was his MVP season crashing out with a thud when he and James Harden failed to live up to the expectations, or even the past season when he gave it his best go against the New York Knicks but inevitably fell short due to his physical limitations. Here's a stat-to-stat comparison of Embiid's number in the last few years versus in the regular season in comparison to the postseason. His points, rebounds, assists, and efficiency all drop when it comes to the playoffs. Let's just say you have a better chance of Goku being a present father than Embiid matching his regular season dominance in the playoffs. I'm just saying. Guys, hope you're enjoying the video so far. Of course, while you're here, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and make sure if you're enjoying it this much, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts so far. Alright guys, enjoy it. Back to the rest of the video. This was never an issue for George's former teammate in Leonard despite his health issues. Leonard often took his game to another level once the playoffs came around. That is the reason why he has 2 finals MVPs and 2 championships on his resume. This is often what separates the premier superstars in the NBA from their contemporaries. Embiid has never been to a conference finals. That is the one thing that George has been able to achieve 3 times in his career, twice with the Indiana Pacers and once with the Clippers. The Philadelphia 76ers are hoping that George will be the piece to help Embiid reach that level beyond the regular season and produce a championship. However, this is nothing new when it comes to teams pursuing Paul George. The Oklahoma City Thunder held similar hopes years ago, initially landing him in a trade for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. They were hoping he may fill the void left by Kevin Durant's departure. Spoiler alert, didn't work out.
That's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
OKC then re-signed George in the following free agency, and amid strong indication George wanted to play for the Lakers. Both seasons ended with them being upset in the first round, which led to George inevitably requesting a trade to the Clippers. A trade that arguably may go down as one of the biggest flops in NBA history. The Clippers traded away Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 5 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. SGA being the most valuable asset in that trade, as he was an MVP candidate last season and is one of the best young players in the NBA. The Clippers would arguably be in a better position if they just held on to their assets. Which team would you rather be right now? The Thunder or the Clippers? I rest my case.
Oh yeah.
The thought and promise of what George can do for your team is more exciting than the actual results. It's similar to when you see an attractive person in public and you build them up in your mind, only for them to be the biggest dud when you actually get to know them. Their timeline is another reason I'm not sold on this big three. George is currently 34 years old, Embiid is 30, and Tyrese Maxey is 23. George and Embiid are both on the wrong side of 30 and are already injury prone. In today's NBA, players have shown the ability to play at a high level deeper into their careers. However, maintaining that star level production on the offensive side of the ball normally comes with concessions defensively. George, even at 34 years old, is an impact player on the court. The Clippers last season were plus 14.3 with George on the court versus off of it. His value is intrinsically tied to his ability to perform on both ends of the court. No one can predict when that slide will happen, but it happens to the best of players. George is not the focal point of the offense, so he may be able to fulfill that role longer into his career. However, Father Time is undefeated, and the aging process is as proven as around Earth. I do not want to hear it from you flat earthers. Do not comment on this video.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
These 3 players will account for the majority of the Sixers payroll for years. The Sixers will have few options to improve their roster, the main reason being because of the new salary cap rules the NBA put in place. They will heavily depend on these 3 players providing a bulk of their production, which is not really any different from the other big threes we've seen in the NBA. It was just easier to believe in those big threes since they consisted of talent such as LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, or even Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. I forgot to mention that they still have to contend with the teams like the reigning champion Boston Celtics, who are not only a younger core of stars, but also a healthier group as well. Also, a better all-around team with better depth. That does not take into account any of the other teams in the East or West that have gotten better this offseason. Even after adding Paul George, the Sixers have the 8th best odds to win the championship. It seems many others are also skeptical about the Sixers' prospects of being able to win the championship. Time will be the best indicator of how this whole thing turns out, but as things sit currently, I do not believe this Paul George signing will be all that different from the last few. Alright guys, thanks for tuning into this video. Of course, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and make sure you drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this new big three that's been formed in Philly. Whether you're up or down for it, I'm obviously you know my thoughts, so I'm excited to see what you guys think down below. Let me know any other video ideas you'd like for me to cover down in the comment section. And of course, guys, follow me on social media as well. On all my social media, I'm going to have them down right here and in the description below. And of course, guys, if you guys want to also stay up to date on any other content, you know that also gets posted on those other social media, so I do recommend following me on there. And of course, guys, until next time, I'm out.